Module Overview. Agribusiness thrives on nature's resources: land, water, soil, biodiversity, and the atmosphere. However, these very resources are under severe threat from unsustainable agricultural practices, climate change, industrialization, and rapid urban expansion. This module explores the dynamic intersection of environmental law and agribusiness operations, focusing on how legal and regulatory frameworks enforce sustainability, manage ecological risk, and promote long term resilience in agricultural enterprises. With increasing global scrutiny on ecological integrity, this module equips you with a comprehensive understanding of environmental statutes, compliance obligations, international environmental agreements, enforcement regimes, environmental impact assessments, EIA, pollution control, conservation practices, and green certification frameworks. It also addresses the growing influence of environmental, social, and governance, ESG, compliance, and climate related disclosure requirements. Sustainability is no longer optional. It is now a legal imperative and strategic business priority. Agribusinesses must ensure their activities comply not only with national environmental laws, but also align with evolving international environmental protocols and market driven sustainability standards. Learning objectives. By the end of this module, you should be able to identify and interpret key environmental laws applicable to agribusiness operations, understand the role of environmental impact assessments EIA in project development, comply with pollution control laws governing waste, air, and water use, recognize climate change legislation and carbon-related obligations, appreciate the role of biodiversity and natural resource protection laws, apply sustainability certifications and green labeling in agribusiness, analyze penalties for environmental noncompliance and liabilities, understand ESG obligations and sustainability reporting standards, align agribusiness practices with the UN Sustainable Development Goals (SDGs). Environmental law and its relevance to agribusiness. Definition of environmental law as a body of regulations designed to protect natural resources. Scope of environmental law in agriculture: land, air, water, biodiversity, and waste. Legal implications of environmental degradation caused by agribusiness activities, balancing productivity with environmental responsibility. National environmental regulations and institutions. Overview of key national environmental laws, e.g., Nigeria's NESREA Act, India's Environment Protection Act, U.S. Clean Water Act. Roles of environmental regulatory agencies: NESREA, Nigeria; EPA, USA; NEMA, Kenya; SEPA, China. Permits and licenses required for agricultural activities. Sectoral regulations: irrigation, grazing, pesticide use, soil protection, and agrochemical management. Environmental Impact Assessment EIA. Definition: a formal process to evaluate the environmental consequences of a proposed project. When EIA is required: land clearing, agro-industries, irrigation schemes, large-scale livestock farming. Steps: screening, scoping, impact analysis, public participation, mitigation, report, review, decision. Legal enforceability of EIA recommendations and compliance audits. Waste management and pollution control. Legal requirements for handling agro waste, plastics, chemicals, and effluents. Agricultural air pollution laws, e.g., ammonia, methane from livestock. Water pollution regulation, e.g., runoff from fertilizers and pesticides. Sanctions for illegal dumping or discharge. Climate change law and agricultural obligations. National climate change laws, e.g., Nigeria Climate Change Act 2021. Compliance with nationally determined contributions (NDCs) under the Paris Agreement. Emissions tracking and carbon budgeting for agro-industries. Deforestation, afforestation, and legal limits on land conversion. Natural resource and biodiversity protection laws. Legal protection for forests, wetlands, protected areas, and endangered species. Restrictions on overgrazing, bush burning, poaching, and monoculture. Agroecology and legal incentives for conservation farming. Payment for ecosystem services, PES schemes, and legal frameworks. Green certifications and sustainable farming standards. Legal and commercial relevance of organic certification, e.g., USDA, organic, EU organic, fair trade certification, Rainforest Alliance, Global GAP requirements for labeling, audits, and renewal. Implications for export and local markets. Environmental governance and liability. Administrative enforcement, fines, suspensions, closure of facilities, civil liability, compensation for environmental harm, criminal liability, prosecution for pollution, habitat destruction, public interest litigation, and citizen legal rights to a clean environment. Environmental, social, and governance (ESG) compliance. Role of ESG metrics in agribusiness financing, investment, and trade. Mandatory ESG disclosure in some jurisdictions. Reporting tools GRI, SASB, IFRSS 2. Integration of ESG into agribusiness risk and strategy. Alignment with the UN Sustainable Development Goals SDGs. SDG 2 Zero Hunger. Climate Resilient Sustainable Agriculture. SDG 13 Climate Action. Reduced Emissions and Resilience Building. SDG 15 Life on Land. Restoration of degraded land and ecosystems. Agribusiness as a driver of SDG progress through legal compliance and innovation. Case study. Examples. Ethiopia. EIA requirement delays for large-scale irrigation schemes. Brazil. Legal backlash over deforestation in agribusiness expansion zones. Kenya. Enforcement of river buffer zone laws in tea and flower farms. India. Pesticide overuse and water pollution litigation against rice farms. Ghana. Cocoa industry certifications tied to environmental compliance. Key takeaways. Environmental law governs every aspect of modern agribusiness from planting to processing to export. Compliance with EIA, pollution control, and climate policies is not optional but legally binding. Green certifications and ESG standards are increasingly required for market competitiveness. Noncompliance carries serious legal, financial, and reputational consequences. Legal literacy in environmental law enables agribusinesses to contribute meaningfully to sustainability and climate action goals.